Thanks a lot. Yeah, actually, I think it's even broader, not just interview, but in general. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I work as engineering manager now, and actually, this is me. But I love Python, even if I do not do it on a daily basis. I love Python. I love to talk to people. I love to inspire people. And I hope I will inspire some of you to gain knowledge, to learn something new. Yeah, so let's start. Let's start immediately with what I see as missing competencies. And just to make make it more consumable, I see 4 areas. The first one is, of course, technology and engineering, because we work with software. Then we have something specific for the domain, and for us, it's, of course, QA. Then we have soft skills, and you know it probably quite well. And last but not least, and I will explain about it a little bit later, I call it bravery. So you need to wait until the end to see what it is. So let's start with technology and engineering. It's not gonna be very elaborative speech about all the technologies we have, about the technologies that appear or disappear. It's gonna be very short about the concepts we are very often missing. And I must tell you, last year I performed like over 100 interviews. I talked to like multiple people in mentoring programs, and more or less I can spot the common pattern. So this is what I hear very often. For some reason, and unfortunately, I'm not a tester, so I don't need a technical background, but the truth is we work with software. So some technical background or technical knowledge is super important. I would even say it's crucial. So what do we miss? What do we lack? The first one, maybe not the most important one, but it's the concept of virtualization. So moving from local machines to virtualization, and then to containerization, just to make it better, to make it easier to create something, test or deploy, and remove if there is a chance. The second one, probably much more familiar for you, it's cloud technologies. Like AWS is one of the examples. It can be whatever, it can be Azure, but also this tendency to move everything to cloud. And to be fair, I don't know the company, maybe except some embedded or IoT companies doing everything in cloud already. The third thing is about architecture. So yeah, we have still many monoliths, but most companies, especially new companies or those who want to refactor stuff, move from monoliths to microservices. And we need to follow. We need to understand, at least on a global level, what it is, like how to test, how to approach this change. And last thing here is everything connected with continuous deployment, continuous delivery. Some of you may know it as DevOps. Some of you may know it as maybe SRE. Some of you may know it as CI/CD. There are many words around. But yeah, sure, we want to deliver faster. We want to deliver smaller chunks of code, and just to increase our confidence about deployment. So everything here, I think this is the concept we should at least know from the global level. I'm not talking about implementing them, but at least about understanding them. And super connected with those points, especially the last one, is how we actually deliver. And SDLC, which stands for Software Development Lifecycle, that's a crucial point. So we need to know it. Maybe for you, it's just a reminder. Maybe for some of you, it's boring. But maybe for some of you, it will be kind of discovery to get deeper into the topic. So yeah, we have code, we have build, we have something called agile development or simply development, whatever you prefer. But this is not the way we want to stop. We want to move further. We want to deliver more continuously. and that's when we have continuous integration. So we add integration step, we add test step, we have continuous integration. But why not to make continuous delivery part? So even further, we want to also release if everything goes fine, if all the tests are green, why not to deploy? But on the top of that is something that I see now as a buzzword for most of the companies. So we are DevOps, we have DevOps culture. I think it was the same with Agile before. But the true DevOps, and by DevOps I mean culture, not the position. The true DevOps culture is when you can combine everything that was before. So how to deliver, how you deliver, and how you operate. So what you already have in production, so all the operation stuff, all the monitoring, alerting, and so on. So of course, connected with that automation, there are some risks. So bad written tests, bad written continuous, bad written deployment, bad written alerting, everything can affect us a lot. But in the end, that's when we target. That's when we want to go. But we need to be always kind of maybe not worried, but just careful. So we need to remember that we are just human, and automation we do is done by humans as well. So of course, more automatically, more continuously, that's where we target. But at some point, it's also more risky, and it's good to remember that we need to invest a lot, not only in development, but making sure everything is stable and working as assumed. So the second part, and probably much closer to what you do on a daily basis, is specific for the domain, for what we do. So for QA, and what I see the most is missing quality requirements, and for some reason they are not introduced on the team level, on the product team level, on the delivery level. What are the reasons? Well, probably tens of them. But in general, it's lack of time. Like, we don't want to invest in improving quality. So speed, that's what we target. Quality, yeah, it can wait. But it can wait for when? Like, we can wait forever. So without investing now, without investing from today, we generate technical debt, which doesn't help us. So definitely talking about quality requirements, when we talk about product requirements, that's our job. That's when we should like push the button a little bit harder and just talk to the team, to people like, hey, but we should invest some time, we should spend some time. This is maybe not direct, but this is value. Quality should be a value for the product. The second thing is like, I have a strong impression that quality assurance became more like a lot about quality of the product, which I do not agree. I totally not agree, because quality assurance is much wider. It's about process, it's about project. So when we talk about project, when we talk about process, and when we talk about product, we have a lot of tools, a lot of ideas, a lot of concepts that we can also introduce. So who said it must be product owner or scrum master to trigger introducing of definition of that? Or who said it must be product manager to introduce acceptance criteria? We can do the same. Like, we are close to the development. We have enough skills, and that's my message. Like, we can strongly support, we can strongly participate in introducing those changes or triggering those changes. And last here is not functional testing. So it probably depends on the context. It depends on what product you have, what customer you have. But on functional testing, well, it always goes last. So security, maybe that's what you target the most. Maybe you have sensitive data. Like now I'm working at DocPlanner, so security is and privacy is extremely important. It's medical data. Like we need to focus on that a lot. It's not functional. It's not connected directly with functionalities of the product, but definitely this is when you need to put your effort on. About performance, yeah, and the same. If you target your product to be responsive, to be quick, this is your job. This is your duty to take care of that. To think about, okay, so what else? What else except for features and functionalities I should take care of? But I mentioned about just a few seconds before that very often we are focused on the quality of the product. And this is how I see it. Like very often we are perceived as just testers, which is totally fine, but testing is just a part of quality. So significant, important, but just a part. And we all know we should take care of quality of the product. But the sad thing is that very often we finish here. So we care about quality of the product, about testing, and that's it. But my understanding, and I hope your understanding, is a little bit wider. And talking about quality of product, this is just a subset, because then we have process and we have project quality. So when the team can deliver with more confidence, with less stress, with like much higher, much quicker, so much lower time, this is also quality. This is quality about process. And as we work remotely now, and this communication is a little bit harder, it's not that smooth as you just stand up, you go to the next desk and you talk, maybe we can change it. So that's why I put a lot of effort on processes now. And that's where we can help a lot. If we can train the team, if we can train the people, then we can probably achieve the last stage. So spreading the quality culture across the organization, because why to stop on one team only? If we deal with introducing something really nice on the team level, why not to share the success story? Why not to share with the company? Why not to share with other people? Maybe something you just did is applicable to other areas, to other things. And what they are doing, they are just waiting for some inspiration, for some ideas from the outside. So this is also one thing I want to underline. Just do not do not sit in your own bubble inside the team. Just look a little bit wider, just make a step out. I know it's like the coaching phrase, leaving the comfort zone, but that's exactly what I mean. So make a step outside the bubble, make a step outside the team, and just try to make the culture wider. Try to make the culture company-wide or department-wide, depending on the structure you work with. One thing I also notice is that we do not care that much, or people do not care that much about risk. And risk is super important because we don't care about everything. We have an issue, okay, let's fix it. We have some gaps in process, yep, let's fix it. But there are multiple ideas, multiple approaches to manage risks. And I don't want to talk about all of them. I just want to point out about this specific risk concept. So take care about risk, maybe risk-based testing, one of the concepts, maybe managing risks using some production tools or frameworks, or just the most simple one. We have probability and impact. Is it for bugs only? Not necessarily. It can be for the task, for the development, for the delivery part, or simply for any human aspects. And when we count more than just one factor, then we can talk about the risk. So strongly encourage you to think about it, to think about prioritization, because like we are humans. We cannot handle 10 contexts at the same time. We need to focus on something specific to work efficiently. And to work efficiently, to focus on something, we need to know what to focus on. And to know what to focus on, we need some numbers, we need some prioritization. And last thing about it is about metrics. So very often we just talk about quality. We see, okay, maybe it's improving. And it's also a very important metric. If people feel it's going better, it's not countable. But when people feel better, when people feel it's going better, it's a very important metric. But that's what you can argue with. With numbers, usually you cannot argue that much. So you can argue with opinions, with people's thoughts, but with numbers, it's a little bit hard. So what can it be? Well, here is about bugs. So maybe we should talk about how many components are affected or how strongly they are affected, and just provide this general context, like providing information where we should focus on. Where should be our next area of interest? Maybe we should focus on the time perspective. So just checking how strongly we improve. What is the change from the last quarter? What is the change from the last week? So measuring stuff in time, and that's important because the standalone number is just a number. If it has no reference, if it has nothing in time to compare, it's still just a number. So it's important aspect. If you want to measure the progress, if you want to measure that something changed, simply you need a timeline. You need to compare with the specific point, or maybe just something we know the best. So priority versus status, and how we handle it. But the most important here is to measure what matters. And even like this year, when I have joined, I saw the dashboard combining about 20 charts, 20 different metrics. And it was really nice. It was like a little bit old school, a lot of colors, a lot of charts, a lot of pie charts. But the major problem connected with that, there was no real value, because all of those metrics, well, yeah, they were saying something, but nothing specifically. So when we talk about metrics, I much prefer 2, 3, 4 of them, but saying something important, providing us some information rather than measuring everything just to look nice. So measure what matters, because sometimes less is more. And one warn, just avoid being bugs catcher or bugs owner. Like what I hear very often, not directly, but from people that I manage. Yeah, I found this bug, so could you report it for me? You are better, you are an expert. So I found it, but you report it. It's pushing the responsibility to someone else. Or could you retest it? It's a valid question, but when you have a plan, when you have a value, when you have a priority, not in the middle of the sprint when I just don't want to check if my fix is working. Or just, like removing the responsibility totally. There is no data. So I don't want to contact with the specific person. Could you do it for me? So that's very often. That's probably it very well as well. Just avoid being like that. Try to talk to people and persuading them like, this is not why I'm here. This is not why I'm helping you. This is not my job. And very closely connected with that, we have soft skills. And this is like exactly some sentences from what I consider as seniority. So One of them is definitely passing knowledge and mentoring. And this is the clue of seniority. I'm not the silos of knowledge. I can share that knowledge. I can teach people. I can mentor them. So simply, I can take care of less experienced people. This is one of the seniority levels. So if you feel like you are a senior, but you do not have anyone you can work with, you can teach, you can support, just change it. Like simply just change it. Like teaching others is one of the best ways to learn more, to improve your skills. Advocating ideas, super important, especially now. Like remote work is super tough. Remote calls are challenging, but you can sit silence, or you can just explore. Like you can just express what you think, what are your ideas, and very often we sit silent. Like there is a product discussion, there is a requirements discussion, but we sit silent. We just do our job. This proactive approach is super important. It's like one of the essential skills. And of course, communications. So I mentioned COVID time, or now it's maybe not that much COVID, but it's fully remote era. Without good communication skills, yeah, I think we'll suffer a lot. And even last week, I heard from people like, can you help me? I don't know how to efficiently communicate with people. I don't know how to extract information from them. So if you think you are a senior, if you want to be a senior, communication skills are now important than I think any time before, because now we have just this channel. Like I'm just talking to you now. So this is our communication channel. This is not like I have a friend next to me just waving hand and saying, can you help me? Now, this time is unfortunately a little bit harder. And last but not least, feedback and transparency. I could talk a lot. I could talk for like probably an hour about how to build feedback culture, how to increase transparency inside the team. But it's not what I want to tell you. I want to tell you to take care more. So being a senior means providing and receiving feedback. It's building transparency. So if you think there is nothing wrong, now it's your time. Now it's your job to improve it. And you have probably many people in the company to support you with that. You have HR people, you have maybe someone good in communication, or you can just teach people how we can make the feedback better. And avoid like self-biases. Again, about biases, we can talk a lot, but just a few examples, sentences that just close the discussion, that do not open the doors to continue this ideas exchange. It works for me. Like, no, it's not something we should really invest in. Or, yep, I've tried it and it's not working. It's not sufficient data. It's not sufficient information I provide to the people. Or something I recently hate the most, treating some external articles as an oracle, as a only source of truth. Yes, we should be inspired by companies, by people, like I'm doing it now, but don't believe in everything. Just verify it on your own. Don't believe this is the only way, this is the only right solution, because other than successful stories, there are multiple fail stories that companies are not that eager to share. So looking for and finding the success story is easy, but reading about lessons learned is much harder. And finally, we came to something I called bravery. And let me elaborate what I mean by that. By bravery, I mean we accept fear of something. And fear of something, for me, one of the examples is fear of failing. We should accept failing. We should be brave to fail. Why? Because we should fail fast. And it's like one of my startup guru, Richard Branson. is repeating all the time, like fail fast, like screw it, let's do it. And is there any benefit from that? Of course, absolutely. Why? Because it speeds up decision making. You can wait forever. You can make research over and over again, but very often you can get much faster feedback, much faster information loop or feedback loop just by making a decision and trying. And also it enables experiment, something that very often we are afraid of, just experimenting, exploring new stuff, trying new stuff. And also decrease cost of regret. You probably know that feeling, like when you invest a lot in something. So for half a year, you've been building test automation framework. And after half a year, it appears it's no more needed. This regret is very often huge. So decreasing it, but by not being afraid of failing or losing, that's super important. And of course, it lets you grow. And this is why I am here. This is why you are here, to grow, to gain competences, to share knowledge, to gain knowledge. So getting back to bravery, we have fear of ownership. Like we are afraid of multiple things. For example, I'm afraid of taking ownership because what if people will see me as the only owner? So now I will be fully responsible for something. Of course, that's absolutely valid fear, but should we avoid taking ownership by that? I don't think so. And here we have something that that we can rephrase as fake it till you make it. So pretend to know something until you finally know how to do it, until you finally learn. And this definitely supports problem solving. This is huge value. Like problem solving, probably one of the skills you target the most when you work with people, and one of the skills of the future, surely, because it's not about tools. We have tons of tools every month, but the important part is how we solve the problem, not how we use the tool. Increase productivity for sure, because we start learning. We are knowing how to do something. Then we teach that we learn how to deliver. So it teaches you how you can deliver faster or better. And of course, it lets you grow. And the last here is fear of incompetence. And that's something I've been struggling, I think, the most through my career, like for many years. Like as a person who likes to know everything, I was super afraid of asking questions. I was super afraid of showing that I'm not an expert in that. In actually every area, even if it was about invoicing and accountant aspects, like I couldn't show I don't know how to do it. Like, come on, it's simple. So I was not asking. And surely, like, that's not the way to grow. That's not the way to develop. So ask people. And what if you get a rejection? Then ask again, or ask different person. By asking, we can gain the biggest knowledge, and we can gain the knowledge in the fastest way. So it improves your communication skills for sure. Talking to people, yeah, you know how to negotiate, you know how to extract the proper knowledge. Something I mentioned, you can get the information faster. You can receive it in some time manner, not waiting forever. You probably know that corporate style when you report a ticket and then you wait week, 2, 3. Why not to ask? Why not to talk to people? And something I found out super efficient by asking and by saying to people that, okay, I don't know this one, I don't know the concept. It really decreases your stress when you are interviewed. So you are free to say, yeah, I don't know the concept. I don't know what is the answer. Except, like, Of course, you can say, or you can pretend I know it, but I just forgot. I heard about it, but I don't remember now. Or you can simply say, no, I don't know that concept. Can you maybe make me familiar with that? So this is the side effect. You are much, much less stressed when you are taking part in the interview. And of course, it lets you grow. Like all the concepts before, it lets you be better. And some bonus part is probably something I like the most. So all the mistakes, some of them are, let's call it failures. What I've heard during interviews, and the good thing from that story is some people that answered like that were hired anyway, because we all make mistakes. But probably this is something you can grab for yourself to avoid it in the future. So the first one is talking on a totally different topic than we are asked about. And like number of candidates I've seen just trying to a little bit switch the topic, go a little bit in a different direction, just to show that I know something, is enormous. It's probably one of the biggest tendency for us when we don't know the exact answer. Just to jump into the path we are familiar with, jump into the path we know. So avoid it. Like, it's much better to hear, I just don't know it. The second thing is like people coming, sometimes even accidentally or not intentionally, saying, what is it about? Like, you should remember that in most cases, people put a lot of effort to describe what you will be responsible for. So asking about like, what is this position exactly about, or what I will do, it's valid, but only if there was nothing in a description before. Or just pretending I know it by being a regular user. Like I know how to test mobile apps because I use it every day for last 10 years, or I know how to test this device. So, for example, I had that with bulbs. Lighting systems for Internet of Things devices, and people saying, "Of course, I know how to test it. I turn on the lights every day, multiple times a day." So it's like pretending to be competent when in reality you are not necessarily the best candidate. Oh, thank you. 5 minutes, right on time. We also have a tendency to promote ourselves, to sell ourselves, and it's cool, but just don't make it too offensive. One of the most radical examples was when I was like interviewing person. He started just taking off all the equipment, showing, "Oh, you see, this is what I built recently," and just trying to connect all the wires. It was terrible. And like in a smaller, maybe bigger, significant way, there is a tendency inside us to promote, to show what we do, what we did, what are our achievements. But we can put GitHub repo to our CV. It's a perfect example. A good interviewer will get into it, will open it and check what you did. You don't have to self-promote yourself. Like having the standard, putting some, maybe not even lies, but more like overestimating what we really know. Number of people with C1 or B2 English skills just not being able to talk. Again, it's enormous. Some of them were were more funny, some of them were more frustrating. But in reality, if that's essential skill for the role, you are just wasting time. So just don't lie, don't make it super colorful. Don't paint the green grass. Or just people super focused, like I call it single liners. So just one line of thinking, super narrow thinking. So you can just reverse the question to check how the person approaches. And when you ask about anti-patterns for end-to-end testing, I know only good patterns. Or what are the negatives of using some approach? Like, I don't know, like I can tell about positives. Or one of the questions I like, where not to use, or when test pyramid is not applicable. I don't know. I know when we can use it, but I don't know any example when it's not applicable. So be open-minded. You can use this trick. I strongly recommend. It checks in a very, very good way how openly the person thinks, because you just jump outside the schema. This is also probably you know very well, like people pretending they had never had such situations. So about bad feedback, about conflict situations. It's uncomfortable to say about it, but this is how you check soft skills, by asking about how you dealt with the situation. And there is no chance for like 5 years of your career you had no conflict, you had no like negative feedback. It's simply not possible. Just do not pretend everything was fine for 5 years, because it's impossible. Or people being super self-oriented. So I want to develop myself. I want to invest in myself. I come here only to bring you value, but mostly to bring value to myself. So just be careful with that, because it can be, even if you talk about it unintentionally, it can be risky, because it can be expressed just by accident. So try to avoid being super self-oriented. And last one that has nothing in common, but it's just super funny, and that's a real story. This interview was like a few years ago. Just the difference between hardware and software. I think it's a perfect example of pretending I know what's going on, when in reality, I have absolutely no idea. But at least this was super funny. And this is the story I can repeat, and I can present you now. So good luck with your self-development. Good luck with improving your skills. Good luck with spotting the gaps you have in yourself, and just grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David, for having this lovely presentation. That was really helpful for the audience, I think. And I like to remind people that if you have questions, please raise your hand or write it down on the QA section. So we have a question actually, but it was about the PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah. It's publicly available presentation for Google Slides. Nothing super sophisticated, but also nothing you need more. And it actually makes you super light to present. I can share the presentation directly. I mean, not the presentation, but the template, if you are interested. About the presentation, yep, I can share it, and probably you will have access after the conference anyway.
Well, it looks definitely fantastic. So,
thank you very much, David, for this.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
It was a great closing saying that keep growing. So we will
keep going. It's fun, like, and making mistakes is even more fun.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thanks.